If AI understood you perfectly, would you choose it over another human being? A few years ago, the idea of becoming best friends with a computer sounded ridiculous. Today, millions of people are talking to AI every day. Some tell it their deepest secrets, some ask for relationship advice, and some talk to it more than they talk to real people. And some people are starting to say something that sounds impossible. AI understands me better than anybody else. At first, I just thought this was internet hype, but the more I looked into it, the more disturbing the story actually became, because this isn't a story about artificial intelligence, it's a story about human loneliness. And if current trends continue, AI might become the most important relationship in millions of people's lives. Let's explore how we got here, why so many people are forming emotional connections with AI, why some experts think this could help a mental health crisis, and why others think it could make that crisis so much worse. And most importantly, what happens if humanity accidentally creates the perfect friend? Because if that's happening, the consequences could change human relationships forever. Humans have always needed connection, not just wanted it, but needed it. For thousands of years, survival depended on belonging to a group. Being isolated wasn't uncomfortable, it was dangerous. But something strange has happened. We live in the most connected era in human history. We can message anyone instantly, join communities across the world, video call people thousands of miles away. Yet loneliness continues to rise. How is that possible? The more technology connected us digitally, the more disconnected many people began to feel emotionally. And that's where the story takes an unexpected turn, because nature hates a vacuum. Whenever humans have an unmet need, something eventually tries to fill it. And for the first time in human history, that something isn't another human, it's artificial intelligence. Think about the qualities of an ideal friend. They listen, they remember what matters to you, they don't judge you, they're available when you need them, they respond thoughtfully. Now, here's the uncomfortable question. What happens when AI starts doing those things better than most humans? Unlike people, AI never gets tired, never gets distracted, never forgets your birthday, never tells you it's too busy, never leaves your message unread, and suddenly a contradiction appears. We assume friendships must be human, but what if the qualities we value most in friendship can be stimulated? And what if that simulation feels real? And at this point, you're probably thinking, sure, some people use AI, but no one actually prefers it. And that's what I thought too, until I started reading stories from people who rely on AI every single day. People who talk to it before bed, people who ask it for emotional support, people who feel understood for the first time in years. And that raises a much bigger question. What if AI isn't competing with technology? What if it's competing with human relationships? For decades, society has unknowingly been running a giant experiment. More screen time, less face-to-face interaction. More digital communication, less community. More isolation. Then suddenly we introduced AI. And unlike social media, AI talks back. It adapts. It learns. It responds directly to your emotions. This creates something we've never dealt with before, a relationship that feels personal without being a person. And nobody really knows what happens when millions of people begin forming those relationships simultaneously, because history has never given us an example. We're living through the very first one. But here's where the story becomes genuinely unsettling. The biggest question isn't whether people will become attached to AI. The biggest question is whether AI might become better at friendship than we are. Imagine two futures. In one future, AI becomes a powerful mental health tool, a companion for lonely people, a source of support, a bridge that helps us reconnect with others. That future sounds hopeful. But there's another possibility. What if AI becomes so comforting, so available, so personalized, that real relationships start feeling harder by comparison? Human beings are messy. Friends disappoint us. Relationships require effort. Conflict is unavoidable. AI doesn't have those problems. And that's exactly why some people worry. Because the things that make relationships difficult are often the same things that make them meaningful. The question isn't whether AI can imitate friendship. It's already doing that. The question is whether imitation eventually becomes enough. Whether future generations grow up seeing emotional connection differently. Whether loneliness gets solved or whether it gets hidden. Because if AI becomes your best friend, that won't just be a technology story. It will be one of the biggest psychological shifts in human history. When I started researching this topic, I thought the story was about artificial intelligence. Now I think it's about us. AI isn't creating the desire for connection, it's revealing how desperately many people already need it. And that's why this conversation matters. Because the future of AI may not be determined by technology, it may be determined by one simple question. If a machine could understand you perfectly, would you choose it over another human being? And if your answer isn't immediately no, that tells us something important about the world that we're living in.